Streamer Lika gained her first 10K subscribers, the audience was growing, donations were coming in, and everything was going to affiliate. She decided to do something special, a nighttime stream with a challenge of spirits. The content is on the hype. People love it when it's scary. Tonight we're going to contact the otherworldly, right live, she whispered into the microphone, in semi-darkness, with a spectacular candle and an old mirror in the background. In the comments, fire. Oh, that's really creepy. The background moves, the mirror blinked. Seriously? She laughed. The effect had been achieved. But then something went off script. One viewer with the nickname Zero behind you started spamming. Don't look at the camera. This is not you. It's connected. The chat started to get agitated. Lika got angry. Joker, let's go bye-bye. But the camera flashed. Another window appeared on the OBS screen. Lika hadn't turned it on. And it was her face. Only, not like this. Gray, distorted. And it was looking right at her, from the camera she hadn't turned on. Lika froze. The room froze. The candle went out by itself. The screen went dark. And at the very last moment, before the stream suddenly cut off, viewers saw Lika's other face lean into the camera and whisper, "Now you're all on." After the stream cut off, Lika checked all the devices. Everything was fine. The stream hadn't been interrupted by her hands, the cameras were working, and OBS wasn't showing any glitches either. But there was something strange in the air. Like the space in the room had gotten heavier. And that shadow in the corner of the screen, it wouldn't go away. The shadow that had appeared the moment the stream cut off. Lika spun the camera around. She peered into the monitor and saw that her reflection in the mirror she'd set up for the broadcast was no longer moving in sync with her. This was no ordinary lag. The reflection was standing there, staring back at her, without movement, without emotion. Her heart beat faster. She turned off the camera and looked at the computer screen. In the chat rooms, viewers began spamming. "What is that? That's not her. That's not Lika. She's not moving like before." Lika quickly closed the chat window. This was too much. But when she looked back, the mirror had moved again. It had, as if, flipped over, and now it wasn't showing her room. In the mirror was an empty hallway. And something dark was moving in that hallway. Shadows began to merge with reality. Lika grabbed her phone in a panic. Her friends weren't answering. Something was happening to her devices. They started shutting down one by one, as if someone was turning them off remotely. Viewers started texting increasingly strange messages. "You can't get out. You're already with us. It seized everything. It won't leave." Lika tried to turn everything off and run away, but when she turned around, she suddenly saw herself standing in the doorway. With a translucent face, she doesn't move, she doesn't blink. And her face in the mirror was now smiling. Lika stood motionless. Her reflection in the mirror was smiling, unnatural, as if she wasn't herself. The viewers seemed to notice it too, because the chat room filled with anxious messages again. "You're trapped. Don't look at the screen. It's taking everyone." Lika took a step back, but something went wrong in the room. She felt the air shrink. It was as if space had become dense, viscous, as if she was sinking into a fog where sounds were silenced. Far away, in the back of her mind, she heard a faint voice. "You can't get out. You're not you anymore." She turned to the screen. Her face on the monitor was no longer alive. Just like in the mirror, it didn't move. It just stared back at her with empty, black eyes. But it wasn't her face. It was the face of the one she had summoned. The moment Lika turned away, her computer screen suddenly lit up with a bright light. A strange digital figure appeared on the screen. It looked human, but its body was crumpled, blurry, and pulsing. Dark wires wriggled around her like she was part of a network. Lika tried to turn off the computer, but her fingers froze, not obeying. The stream started to stream again. It was at that moment that she realized none of this was an accident. Everything that was happening was part of some terrible plan. Stream wasn't just entertainment, it was a touch of something ancient and powerful that couldn't be stopped. The stream went on as if it were a living thing, and it was taking over her consciousness, controlling her every movement. After a few minutes, the shadow appeared on the screen again, but this time it was even closer. In real life, the shadow began to grow, and the room began to be engulfed in darkness. Lika couldn't get out anymore. She was being consumed by this screen, this mirror, this other world. Messages started appearing in the chat rooms again. "You've gone too far. It's already inside. You're part of it. Lika screamed, but her scream, like everything else, was swallowed up by silence. Suddenly she realized it wasn't listening to her anymore. It doesn't need her. It was taking everyone. Her reflection spoke again, mirroring her thoughts. I will become you. And in that moment, she realized her last scream was this moment. All that remained was her face in the mirror and on the screen. Things that fade away, leaving only a shadow where a person once was. The dark room engulfed Lika. Her hands reached helplessly for the screen, but they couldn't touch the keyboard. Her entire body felt heavy, as if it were drowning in some kind of liquid darkness. All around her, the light of the monitor flickered, on which her face was a stranger. She looked at her reflection in the mirror, but it wasn't her reflection. It was herself, but with a distorted smile, with empty eyes. It wasn't Lika. It was someone different. In the moment of realization that she was stuck between worlds, Lika clenched her fists. The pain in her hands was real, but immediately, her gaze was drawn to the monitor. The images on the screen began to change. Her face, her hands, her body. It all began to blur, turning into a series of terrifying, digital nightmares. The chat didn't stop. You've gone too far. It's too late. The shadow will live on in your ether. We're all watching you. At first, Lika thought it was just messed up footage, delays. But when she tried to turn the chat on, she couldn't close it anymore. It filled the entire screen, as if someone else's messages had begun to take over the space. Everyone in the audience watched her lose control. The shadows around her became real. She saw black silhouettes climbing out of the screen, filling the room. The feeling that everything around her was turning digitally evil. Everything was growing like a tumor out of control. Lika felt scratches begin to appear on her skin. It wasn't from the monitor, it was the digital trace of something passing through her. A shadow. She tried to hold back, but the power of the creature began to break her mind. And then a message appeared on the screen. You can't stop us anymore. We've found you. You will be our ether. At that moment, a new figure began to appear on the screen. This wasn't just a stream. It was a network that consumed every viewer, every person who connected to the broadcast. The system had closed. Lika appeared on the screen again, but now she wasn't standing in the room. She was in digital space, surrounded by huge, black wires and code that spun around her like a spider's web. There was no time or space around her. The chat continued to dump messages, and they were all the same. You're already here. You will stay with us. You will be ether. She felt herself lose her essence. She was nothing more than a digital shadow, part of an endless stream of information. The shadows that surrounded her began to climb up the screen. This wasn't just the ether. This was a new world where there was no light or shadow. Everything was subject to a system, and now Lika was part of that system. Her last stream was the beginning of a new reality for her.